because for so long, you know, everything that has been wrong with flight disruptions, the airlines were given the impression that they had not been listened to. So I wanted to give them that ear, understand their challenges, help them, you know, assist them in any way that the regulator could. Having done that, in the history of the NCAA, the number of engagements I've had with them has been unprecedented. The relationship is much more improved now. It's no longer a servant-slave thing, it's a partnership thing. However, now that I have listened to them, they also have responsibilities to our passengers. We operate within the ambit of the regulations, and the regulations are not meant to be broken recklessly. The flight disruptions in Nigeria is quite high. We understand why it's like that, and not all of it is the fault of the airlines. I have re-echoed this fact over and over. Still, where there is a flight disruption, the airline has a responsibility to the passenger. I will no longer listen to excuses in that regard. The economy is harsh sometimes for these passengers. Not every passenger whose flight is cancelled has money to book on that flight and leave that place. People are losing businesses, people are even losing their lives, people who travel for health concerns. And so the passenger just wants to get from point A to point B. If it's easy taking money from them, give them back their money where necessary. The regulation says for passengers who purchase their tickets by cash, refund their monies by cash immediately while they are still at the terminal. And for those who bought through other means, 14 days to refund their money because of banking processes. But we have situations where airlines are holding passengers' refunds, monies for upwards of 4 months. It's unacceptable. Initially, I used to try and balance it out because I understood here in the CPD, the volume of complaints that come in sometimes can be overwhelming. And then, you know, you have to sift through these things and investigate to be certain that the passenger actually qualifies for a refund. Because it's not every time your flight is cancelled or you did not make your flight that you are due a refund. Sometimes the passengers, there's a no-show. Okay. In those circumstances, the passenger, but where we have determined that this person is due for refund, pay them their money, otherwise they will be sanctioned. We have to have sanity in this industry.
And specifically, what kind of delays are excusable, and what are those that you would say are just total negligence on their parts?
Well, globally, the regulations are uniform for acts of God, for weather, for technical issues, you know, VIP movements, and so on and so forth. These are not the fault of the airline. We have like bird strikes, for instance. A plane is on its way to Abuja to drop passengers, pick up other passengers, and head to Benin, for instance. Passengers are already waiting in Benin, bear that in mind. And then on approach to Abuja, there's a bird strike. Automatically, that plane is grounded. It means that for the rest of the day, every other sector that aircraft was supposed to fly will experience a disruption. The provision for equipment for bird strikes is not the purview of the airlines. It's FAN, for instance, that's supposed to provide that. And so when it happens that way, the passengers are slapping airline staff around. It's not their fault. In that kind of circumstance, I'll take sides with the airline. That's
so
what the regulation says.
Part.
See, disruptions happen, even where it's not their fault. They still have responsibilities that are clearly spelled out by the regulations. And if they do not comply, yes, they will still face sanctions. For instance, your flight is going to experience a delay. The regulation states clearly that you will inform the passengers, provide information 30 minutes after that delay has started and every 30 minutes thereafter, right? 2 hours later, refreshment, and so on and so forth. Between the hours of 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning, you must provide accommodation for that passenger. So most times, where the disruption itself does not qualify an airline for a sanction. Where sanctions must happen is where the airline has failed to comply with the measures they are supposed to take, the care they are supposed to provide to passengers afterwards. And so what I'm saying is that we have taken time and listened to the airlines. We've done enough for them. We will no longer accept any excuses to hold on to the monies of passengers. In fact, I am pushing for a review of our regulations. I feel that 14 days is too much to hold anybody's money. So I'm proposing 7 days.
So what are the monitoring systems that you have put in place? For instance, you have talked about, giving refreshments. Are they, staff around the airport that see to those kind of things? And what is the punishment for airlines for that defaults in those areas?
Yes, we have consumer protection officers at about 23 terminals across Nigeria, and they monitor. Once there's a disruption, the airline reports the disruption to our personnel, who come to monitor compliance by the airlines. But I have even told our staff now, nobody should chase after airlines telling them what to do when there's a disruption. The regulations are clear. The airlines, they know the regulations. They know what's in our books. So nobody should go and tell the airline, you're supposed to provide accommodation, or you're supposed to give this person refresh. Don't even chase them down. Allow them. Let them not comply and see what happens.
What is the NCAA stand on that inquiry? Are you guys part of it, or are you for or against the FCCPC calling out Air Peace for an inquiry and investigation into alleged exploitative prices? What's the NCAA stand on that?
The NCAA is the sole regulatory authority for aviation in Nigeria. We have had a lot of cooperation with the FCCPC. We've handled issues together. Case in point, the high airfares being charged by international airlines. They were here, the FCCP were here. We treated that together, and it was good, good collaboration. Like the Honorable Minister said, something was reckless about it. We are not averse to cooperating and collaborating with the FCCPC, but there was no official communication to the NCAA in this regard. Because what should be the right thing normally would be for cases that are reported to the FCCPC to be escalated to us. That's how it should be. Like the Honorable Minister said, something was reckless about it. We are not averse to cooperating and collaborating with the FCCPC, but there was no official communication to the NCAA in this regard. Because what should be the right thing normally would be for cases that are reported to the FCCPC to be escalated to us. That's how it should be, normally. Now, if the Commission wants to invite an airline and they need to work with the NCAA on it, they should have written us officially, inviting us, to that inquiry.